Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to today's English lesson. So today we're going to begin writing our non-chronological report. But before we begin, can you pause this video and write the date and the LO in your English books? So the date is the 8th of the 1st, 21, and the LO is to begin writing a non-chronological report. And before we start looking at the opening paragraph, could you please get your planning sheets ready that you made yesterday? Okay, so our opening paragraph is a summary of ancient Greece, so we can all use a similar opening paragraph. So on the flip chart, I have an example of an opening paragraph I'd like us to improve, and we need to focus on putting in some relative clauses, expanded noun phrases, subordinate clauses, and adverbials. So what I want you to do now is pause the video and just have a look at this example and think about how you can edit and upgrade it. So pause the video now and just have a little look. Okay, so now you've had a little think, I've put another example on the board which I've edited and upgraded, and I've added some relative clauses, subordinate clauses, and adverbials. So I'm just going to read this out so you get a feel for the idea of an opening paragraph. So, ancient Greek civilization started around 800 BC and ended in 146 AD, when the Romans invaded Greece. The geography of Greece has influenced how it is now seen as a country, with broken land by mountains and sea. The ancient Greeks did not see it as a single country, as it had never been run by a single leader. In fact, it is made up of different countries who before long came into competition with each other. Okay, so the subordinate clauses I've added are in purple, so when the Romans invaded Greece, and with broken land by mountains and sea. So we know that subordinate clauses cannot stand alone without the main clause, but they add some extra information. So when you edit and upgrade your opening paragraphs, I want you to try and add these grammar down at the bottom of the screen. I've also added who for a relative clause and before long for an adverbial. Okay, so I've put another example of an opening paragraph on the board now, and this time I'd like you to pause the video and think about how you can upgrade the vocabulary I've used, and you can also think about the grammar if you want a challenge. So pause the video now and have a think about some vocabulary you could change or add to improve this opening paragraph. Okay, so here I have upgraded my opening paragraph. So the vocabulary I've added or changed is in bold. So for example, I've got contrasting, democratic, greater, counterparts, and discourage, which just improves the overall feel of the paragraph. I've also added some relative clauses. So I've got who, an expanded noun phrase. So here I've got, on the other hand, Sparta is ruled by two kings whom belong to two royal families. So the noun being Sparta. I've also added a subordinate clause, which is known to be contrasting, which cannot stand alone without the main clause. And I've also added the adverbial often. So as you can see, I've already improved this opening paragraph by just adding some new vocabulary and changing some of the grammar. Okay, so I'm just going to read this paragraph out so you have another idea of one you can use. Two of the most well-known Greek cities are Athens and Sparta, known to be contrasting. Athens being a democratic government ruled, elected by male citizens. On the other hand, Sparta is ruled by two kings whom belong to two royal families. Sparta women have greater freedom than the women of the Athenian counterparts, who were often discouraged to leave home. Okay, and I put one more example of an opening paragraph on the board for you to have a look at. So again, I'd like you to pause the video and think about some vocabulary you can change or add, and grammar you can add to this opening paragraph to improve it. Okay, so here is my improved opening paragraph. So again, I've got the vocabulary in bold, and I've got my grammar in different colours. So firstly, let's have a look at the vocabulary I've changed or added. So I've got rich, advocating, which means like promoting. I've got consequently. I've got originates. Okay, so those words just improved my paragraph already. And now let's have a look at the grammar. So here I've added a subordinate clause, as well as history and philosophy, so giving some extra information. I've added an expanded noun phrase, the noun being Sparta. So it says Sparta, who prioritised preparing youths for battle, shunned literature. So shunned means like hated. And I've added an adverbial, many years ago, and lastly a relative clause, which. So when you write your opening paragraph, you need to focus on constantly editing and upgrading your work to make it better and better each time. Okay, so now I want you to carry out an independent task. So we've looked at 3 examples of an opening paragraph and improved them each time. But now I want you to have a go in your books. So I want you to pick one of these 3 examples, write it in your books and edit and upgrade it. You can take information from different paragraphs and put them together if you feel it works well. So pause the video now and pick one of the 3 examples to start writing your opening paragraph in your book. And remember, if you finish, use a purple pen to edit and upgrade your work. Okay, so you should now have your opening paragraph in your English books, which is great. But now we're going to have a look at paragraph 1. Okay, so for paragraph 1, I've used some information about mythical creatures, but obviously not all of you can use this example because you might be doing different topics. But we're going to have a look at how we can condense information to start writing our paragraph 1. So remember, paragraph 1 is a summary of your topic, so you don't need to give too much information at this point, just a general overview of the topic you have researched. So what I want you to do now is pause the video and just read through the text I've got on the board and think about how you can pick different parts of information to put in your paragraph 1. You can also think about some vocabulary you can add and grammar you can add as well. So pause the video now and think about how I would turn this information into my paragraph 1. Okay, so as you're about to see, I have turned this information into a shorter paragraph for my paragraph 1. What I've done is I've picked the key parts of information out of that text and turned it into a shorter, more precise paragraph. So I just want you to pause the video and read through what I've used. Okay, so you can see that I've kind of picked out what they are, what they're used for, and where they've come from. So it gives you a general overview of the topic. So if you did a different topic, you would do the same sort of thing for your paragraph 1. But if you did do mythical creatures, you can feel free to pause the video and use this as a basis for your paragraph 1, making sure that you make it your own. So now that you've seen how I've turned information into my paragraph 1, I'd like you to have a go. So what you need to do is get your planning sheets and use your information from yesterday to start drafting paragraph 1. So remember, it's all about editing and upgrading. So once you've written your draft, make sure you go back and see what you can improve in terms of vocabulary and grammar. Okay, class 5, so you should now have in your English books edited and improved an opening paragraph and paragraph 1. So I'd like to see what you've been doing, so feel free to post them on Class Dojo and we can see what you've been up to. So well done for all your hard work this morning, and I hope you have a lovely weekend.